Hello everyone and welcome to Helix Cloud Games. My name is Richie and this is SideQuest, a cloud gaming show where we take a deep dive into one particular topic. On this week's show, we're asking Google, where are the games? And to join me in this quest, I have the host of the Sounds of Stadia podcast, Mr. Chris.
Hello gamers, or not gamers, depending on your platform. Oh, it's starting off that way.
Yeah, we promised you in the Sounds of Stadia podcast this was going to be a spicy one. But before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon for notifications when all of our great shows go live, such as the Sounds of Stadia podcast, every single Monday on YouTube and podcast servers, where you can also get this very show if you prefer in audio-only format, and our Thursday night live streams, where at the time of recording, the most recent thing we played was a crossover between Far Cry and Stranger Things.
And it was good.
And it was good indeed. Bit of background for this. This is one we've been thinking about for a while. We're about a quarter of the way through the year now. So we think it's a good opportunity to just check back in with Google Stadia. And specifically, I actually went to a list. I found a couple of different articles of the most expected games of 2022, them sort of articles. And we kind of pulled a list together out of these lists of what are the basically across the board, what games are the most expected to come, and go, right, what's come to Stadia already? What has what has Stadia missed? What has been announced for Stadia to come? And what hasn't been announced to come to Stadia?
Yeah. And I think we should probably caveat this whole episode with, we said it on the podcast, but we're always open and honest with our viewers and listeners, and we've always from day one of covering Google Stadia and cloud gaming, we've praised them when they've done great things, we've critiqued them when they've done bad things, and quite frankly, we've given them shit when it's deservedly so. When they've missed things, they've messed up. Because again, it's we at the end of the day, me, you, Richie, the viewers and listeners out there, we are consumers of this product, and as a customer of that product, there are certain expectations that we have that we were not only promised, or also what that we want to see in the years and months to come. And we've mentioned many times about a roadmap, and it's always been, oh, don't worry, we'll stealth drop things when we have announcements, and that's all well and good. But like you said, we've been sitting on this episode for quite some time because we didn't want to kickstart the year in too much of a negative fashion.
It's not even that. It's we actually wanted enough of the year to pass so they could foreseeably announce some things and to get some games under our belt for 2022 before we kind of... I'm going to say we're going to tear them apart, to be honest, and it's not a good look. We are aware there are games coming to Stadia on this episode, which is actually why I brought out the fact that I went to the most anticipated games. So these are kind of the games we're going to be talking about today, kind of the games that... These are the games that people in gaming in general were looking forward to most.
Yeah. The most anticipated, exciting, fun games that people are looking forward to playing in the gaming world, which Stadia is a part of. So where do you want to start?
Well, I think we start with the first game to come out on this list. Rainbow Six Extraction.
Chronological.
Just go straight. Yeah, we don't have to stick to chronological, but I think if we need a place to start, Extraction was released on the 20th of January. And it did come to Stadia.
It did, with that little Ubisoft asterisk next to it. That
it is a Ubisoft game,
which is terrific, and we expected it. And if this didn't come, that would have been an even bigger thing to add to this particular topic. But I mean, let's face it, we enjoyed what we played with Extraction. It's, in my opinion, and from all the gaming podcasts I listen to, my friends, and what I see on socials, this game's came and went. It's had its time in the sun already for the air, unfortunately. I'm sure there's season pass content. I'm sure people out there will love it and keep playing it. It came to Game Pass, but it's not got any legs that are, it's not really going to reach the heights of Rainbow Six Siege levels of success. No. I don't think.
I think that I can actually see us jumping back into this in the future if if for some reason we decide to get Ubisoft Plus for something else, I say new Siege content or something that we really go, oh, we want to play that, then we might do another stream of Extraction in around that time.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game. It could be better. It
Yeah.
wasn't
And
a bad
you know
start.
what?
Yeah.
I probably would have played more Extraction if it was not for a bunch of other games that have since came out at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, it's like
That's the reality. My attention has been pulled very quickly away from Extraction because of some of the other things on this list, and your attention has been pulled also by other things on this list.
Yeah, actually, one of the things that's brought my attention, I'm just going to actually, in fact, two of them that's pulled my attention away. I'm just going to quickly rattle off a couple of the exclusives, because I want to bring up exclusives because I think exclusives are a big part of the gaming industry, whether you like them or not. And so obviously they're not coming to Stadia, and every other major platform has them. We're talking Pokemon Legends Arceus, Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, Tunic, Ghostwire Tokyo, and Kirby and the Forgotten Lands are all out at the time of recording. And looking forward, we've got things like Forspoken, Starfield, Bayonetta 3, God of War, Ragnarok, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild 2, and Splatoon 3, all expected to come this year.
Yeah. And this is, I think, what's going to lead the narrative of it.
Yeah.
It's the criticism we're probably going to give them throughout this episode is deservedly so, because we knew they were never going to get their exclusives. They shut the studios down over a year ago. However, if you're not going to make your own games, surely that frees up budget and negotiating power to get third-party titles, which now we're several months into the year and we've had some big third-party releases. This personally is, I think, where the crux of my frustration and a lot of people's frustration will come from, is that we've had, let's face it, nothing since Extraction.
Yeah.
If we're honest with ourselves, we could all play family little indie games and stuff to all the live long day, but is that what gaming's all about, or do we want to play those big stellar AAA game of the year winning potentially titles? And I know I do.
I think I honestly think you need both in the platform. I think indies indies could be great for smaller experiences or taking more risks sometimes with the way they present themselves. But there's a reason the big AAA games are the big AAA games, because they're the ones that sell a lot. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason they sell a lot, because people want to play them. So moving on swiftly to the first miss of the year, a big miss actually, I think. And this is Dying Light 2 Stay Human, released on the 4th of February to PlayStation, Xbox, PC and GeForce Now. So it's in the cloud.
It is in the cloud. It does exist out there. Totally complete Techland. Again, not what I would class as like a big developer and publisher. However, Dying Light 2, arguably one of the big marketing campaigns at the start of the year. Dying Light 1 very well received, and it was just kind of one of them things I just presumed in my mind. I was like, well, we're not getting Horizon from PlayStation, obviously. Yeah. So what will I be playing at the start of this year? And Dying Light 2 was one that I really was looking forward to. I
think Dying Light 2 might have had us thunderstolen a bit by like two other games on this list. I've already mentioned Horizon Forbidden West. Mm-hmm. One we'll get into in a bit. I think that may have just like took the attention away from Dying Light a bit. But
and
before we get that, we missed Sifu as well, 8th of February. That one, I don't think there was a lot of expectation, but it landed, and I heard really good things when it came out, which is why I decided to throw it into the list.
Yeah, Sifu, it sold over 1 million copies already for an indie title. It's fantastic.
On PlayStation, PC and GeForce Now. I didn't know it was on GeForce Now till I did my research for this episode, so if you're interested in playing Sifu in the cloud, you can on GeForce Now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is, again, this kind of goes back to the conversation is, so we're not getting it seemingly AAA third-party games. Sifu's an indie studio. Now, there's nothing to say that PlayStation obviously didn't do their research and lock them down. This happens. Yeah,
this might be a console exclusive, where with PlayStation Now, sometimes they're going, you can get a PlayStation or PC. They're starting to be a bit more loose with that. Mm-hmm. But I really don't. Didn't dig deep enough to confirm that.
So then, again, the continuation of the conversation would be, okay, so when that exclusivity ends and Sifu goes multi-platform, it will inevitably be on Xbox, PC. It'll probably come to Game Pass at some point. Will it come to Stadia? Who knows? Like, that's the problem, is we've got this precedent now where everything's up in the air. We don't have a roadmap. We don't have any history to look back on and go, oh, well, we got this, we got that. Because we just... we're just kind of clutching at straws with a lot of these titles. And yeah, Sifu, if it is a locked-in exclusive, then I expect to see it maybe by this time next year. But I've not got any evidence that suggests it will come. And that's a shame. That's a damn shame.
I do actually want to point out, actually, for this list, while I'm thinking about it, is I do have the list for like Stadia PC, Xbox, Switch, PC, GeForce Now, and Luna. Luna performed just as bad as Stadia has on this list, but there was a lot of information that I couldn't confirm on the Luna side because it's about to launch properly, but it's in things like on Wikipedia sites and stuff. Luna isn't always listed, neither is GeForce Now. Stadia tends to be better at that, but
it's in a few things hit or miss, isn't it? We know that. So
just that caveat: if I say something's not coming to like the cloud, full stop, and it is, just correct us in the comments.
Yeah.
The biggie, Chris. The big game that's come out this year so far, probably one of the most anticipated games of all time, Elden Ring.
Yep. Elden Ring from Software, of course. They're absolute, I'd say a breakout hit, but they've been quietly chipping away with stellar games for well over a decade now. I
think breakout hit's not a bad way, because I think, Bloodborne did really well, but with Dark Souls, it was more of like a cult following behind the Souls games. Elden Ring, I think, is when this is their Witcher 3 moment, where they've went from being this cult following to one of the biggest players in the industry.
Yeah, completely. And it's took the shine away from Horizon Forbidden West to some degree, like Zelda did 5 years prior, funnily enough. And I think with this, it's interesting because Elden Ring, of course, from Software, we have Sekiro on the platform, self-published.
That was self-published, wasn't it? So
yeah, it was Activision originally.
It was Activision originally, yeah.
Yeah, so from Software, this time round, published by Bandai Namco again, who have many titles on Stadia. So you've got the publisher on board, you've got the developer on board. That seemingly would be the perfect relationship to bring your brand new, hype the hell up video game, and yet here we are lamenting with nothing.
Yeah, for me, if it's one of them, if you only have the budget to bring one big game to the platform every quarter, this is the one you go for.
Mm-hmm. We knew Horizon wasn't coming because that's a PlayStation exclusive. So what is in your first quarter, following on from Ubisoft's obviously going to Chrome Extraction, and Elden Ring has just took the absolute world by storm.
It's a shame because I feel like Stadia got a bit of a boost when Cyberpunk came, and it performed really well on Stadia, and they're having problems elsewhere. I think this could have been another one of them credibility moments for the platform. Elden Ring lands on Stadia, it plays really well, especially if they manage to nail that 60 frames per second, so it plays really smooth. Even if they have to turn down the graphical details to do it a bit.
I mean, it's not even the most graphically intense title anyway.
Yeah, but I think for a game like Elden Ring, with how difficult it is and how focused you need to be playing it, I think a lot of players would accept. If you had a balance between going 30 frames per second and make it look pretty, or dropping the quality a bit and getting that 60, it's a very much I need this in 60.
Yeah,
but completely. It could have been. I really think this is one they're going to lament.
Yeah, probably. And I just want to say as well, when I say graphically intense, I know Elden Ring is like a modern AAA game. I meant from what I've seen of compared to Horizon Forbidden West, which is visually breathtaking. It's lesser in terms of that element of visual quality.
Yeah, I think Horizon is intentionally a bit more brighter. This is a bit more grimy, dingy.
I mean, just like character models and stuff. They're obviously not comparable. They're very different games. But you're right. Yeah, this Elden Ring it could have been a totally different. We could be sat here not really caring about the rest of the titles because we've got Elden Ring and everyone's playing it. Everyone's talking about it, and it's hours and hours to dive into. But again, another missed opportunity.
For me, it's a credibility title. Because if you were to go talk to someone about Stadia and what games are coming, go, can I play Elden Ring's probably one of the first things they ask you. Can I play Elden Ring in it? And the answer's going to be no. It's I'll buy an Xbox then.
Yeah. This last week, I tweeted out saying I spoke to some colleagues at work. I was talking to some young lads, and I was showing them, and I got my phone out, and I was talking about cloud gaming, and I said, yeah, I use Google Stadia to much of the shock. Showed them my phone, booted up FIFA, blown away that I could just jump on FIFA and do FIFA Ultimate Team in the palm of my hand without the console. And they kept asking questions like, so is that on your phone? I'm like, no, it's not. It's streamed to my phone. And then I quickly swiped along, booted up Assassin's Creed Valhalla, showed myself walking around the homestead, and they were just like, so it's just there in the palm of your hand. Like, yeah, and I can play it at home on the TV. I can play it on my PC, my tablet, seamlessly. And they were just like, honestly, in shock. But you're totally right. That list, as time goes on, you can play FIFA. Great. But if I say FIFA to someone who's not a football fan, they go, okay, well, what else has it got? Cyberpunk. Okay, that's a year and a bit old now. What's current? Elden Ring. No, doesn't have that. What about Dying Light? No, doesn't have that. And Sifu? No. And this is where it starts to get a bit, what is the look for 2022? Because at the moment, we haven't got Resident Evil Village lined up. We haven't got Sekiro ready to drop. So what does the future months hold for me as a gamer?
So should we go through the games, the most anticipated games that have come out or already out quickly before we move on to what's to come? So Grid Legends came out. Nope. Grid's previously on the platform. Next one is not there. WWE 2K22. There hasn't been a WWE game, but there has been 2K games.
WWE Battlegrounds is on Stadia.
Yeah, we don't talk about that though.
Well, I mean, 2K and WWE licensing. And this, before we do rattle off the full list, I know I said on the podcast I'll probably go off into a bit of a ranty kind of motion, but we bottle all this up quite a lot, and it's good to air things out, folks. All of these games we spoke about so far, most of them, they have relationships with Google Stadia. WWE, I mentioned it, we have WWE Battlegrounds. It came out last year, and yes, it was rubbish, but it's still there. We had a previous entry. Grid Legends, we had Grid. Codemasters they were bought by EA. EA have 5 games on Stadia. So why is Grid Legends
have more than
out?
5?
Why is it like, it's the why. That's what always gets me. Why? Yeah. Where is the money being spent to create a portfolio of diverse quality titles for the entirety of 2022? Because I'm just not seeing it. And it's hard to keep a smile all the time and say, oh, everything's going great. It's doing loads of great things, but at the end of the day, and loads of people out there on the internet will hopefully agree with me, that video gaming is about the games. Yeah, it really is. No matter all sorts of marketing or technology, if you haven't got the games, gamers have nothing to play. So they will game elsewhere, which a lot of these games I will be doing on my PS5.
Yeah, and there's games in this list, like I'm not particularly interested in playing Sifu or Elden Ring or WWE 2K22 or even Grid Legends to that matter. Mm-hmm. But I know there are people who are looking forward to these games, and if they're not coming to Stadia, they're going to go elsewhere, which means they're not spending on Stadia, which means the games I want to come to Stadia aren't going to come. It's just how this works.
It's a vicious circle.
Yeah, moving on.
Without investment.
Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, 18th of March. Miss. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, this is the one we were hoping for. And this is actually, this was the one where we put the deadline for this episode. We want to give it the chance because we have Borderlands 3. There's always been rumours we're getting other Borderlands that haven't come to fruition.
Yeah, and again, it makes you just keep wondering. Gearbox, within they were funny enough, they were acquired by THQ, Embracer Group, who also have a slew of other titles on the platform. And like you said, we had Borderlands 3, runs great on Stadia. Yeah, we had Borderlands like 2 and such rated. Didn't see them. But
Tiny Tina's could have been the game that softened the blow of missing Elden Ring.
Yeah, just a few weeks detached. Don't worry, because you're getting this big AAA looter shooter with this fantasy twist on it almost from a developer that's already got games on the platform, being acquired by another studio group that's already got games on the platform. It's arguably going to be one of the biggest games of the year, and yet, as you said, Richie, that was our cut-off point for this episode. We've given them three months to get these third-party titles out, and yeah, you're right. You look at other gamers out there. What are you playing? And it's a mixture of Elden Ring, Horizon, WWE. Like all the gaming podcasts I listen to, they're calling it like review season. because there's so many titles to play and review, and yet, what are we over here talking about on our podcast?
We're talking about what's not coming.
We're talking
chiefly.
about City Legends, Crimson Collection, whatever that was. No disrespect to it, but come on.
We are getting games that I'm excited for. We're getting East 9 coming to Stadia Pro. I'm looking forward to that. We're getting City Skylines. I'm looking forward to that. There's things like that.
But would you rather play Final Fantasy Origins Stranger Paradise?
I played the demo, so no. But I was interested enough to take like a couple of hours to play the demo on my PlayStation.
Indeed.
But moving on, a couple of games that we know and that haven't been announced for Stadia that have previous entries on the platform: Sniper Elite 5, Saints Row remakes, 26th of May and the 23rd of August. They're both slated for, respectively. This adds to the list of sequels not coming.
Yeah, and to rewind a little bit back to Grid Legends, there's entire like communities of gamers who, a lot of these titles I'd say have more like cult following status, where they're not massive like Elden Ring levels of followings and plays. However, there is a distinct community who this is the only game they may buy, or only one of few games they play and buy a year, but they play the hell out of these titles. In a racing game, or a shooting game specifically, or any kind of sports game, it's kind of like the thing that commit big parts of their gaming world too, and there's nothing to fill that void. So where do they go? They go to Xbox Game Pass, £10 a month. They go to PlayStation, soon to be revitalized.
Sniper Elite was a bit of a kick in the teeth actually, because of the relationship. Well, what we thought the relationship between Rebellion and Stadia was. There seemed to be a good partnership there, but I think I am right in saying that was confirmed not to be coming.
Yeah, I've reached out to the developers through Twitter, but somebody else on social media got in touch with their team and basically said we've got no plans to bring it to Stadia as of yet. Yeah. Which you're completely right. Strange Brigade, Sniper Elite 4, and Zombie Army 4, all thoroughly loved by the Stadia community, and yet the next game isn't coming for whatever reason, and it is a shame when serialized entries don't come, because that means something's not right. Why wouldn't you bring it? Surely, if you brought the last one, what is preventing you? Is it the player base? Is it the money? And if so, the people in charge, Google, in this regard, they need to do something. Otherwise, if you don't upset the balance, Richie, if you don't get out of that vicious circle, it's not just going to fix itself by just doing nothing.
There's a thing to be said for, like, I think they've changed the tack. They're taking a slow approach. They're not going to drop mega bucks or like big bags of cash to bring games over.
Evidently, yeah.
But that could go well for them. I could slowly build the player base of people who've relapsed gamers getting back into it and trying games that they don't care that 5-6 year old. But it could go the other way, where people like us just look at it and go, there's nothing coming that I want to play in this platform, therefore I'm not going to spend any money on this platform.
Yeah, which isn't going to help you the bottom line either. So it just, again, it is catch-22. But when Microsoft can go and drop literally billions of dollars on acquiring a company for their future planning, Google, if they are in this for the long haul, if they are future planning, the time to invest is now, not in several months, years time. When you're so far behind, it doesn't matter. It's throwing money down the well. At least now the well is so shallow, but you've not even finished building it. So, again, we go around with this conversation on the podcast sometimes, but
yeah, I mean, the next game I want to bring up is actually one I think you're a fan of. It actually should be coming out next week on the 5th of April. And I don't think this would be that difficult to get. And I also want to mention before I name it is the other games in this series are on GeForce Now, although this one isn't announced for GeForce Now. But I think that's a good expectation that it might come there. And that's Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. I think this is the perfect Stadia game.
I think the Lego games, full stop, are perfect family Stadia games. But more importantly, if you shrink them down to a mobile screen, touch controls work pretty decent on a Lego game, because there's not that much input going on, and the graphics aren't exactly like what you'd expect from like Naughty Dog or something like that. They would actually transpire to different products very, very easily. And this is the first game to kind of bring all the games together. And again, back to existing relationships. WB, who published this, have games on Stadia, and they have the AT&T deal with Batman. That's a whole other conversation. But it's just another big franchise IP as well in Star Wars. Seemingly not arriving. Like, again, don't get me wrong, this episode goes live a few days before the game drops.
It's possible it comes.
Yeah, it is. Realistically, but Richie, chances of it coming?
We're recording this on the 20th. I think it's no.
It's not.
We're recording this on the Friday the 25th of March, just to provide that context.
Yeah.
So if we're saying at this point, if any games we're saying it's not coming, it's because at this point in time they have not been announced. So our expectation is, therefore, they're not coming. We might be wrong. I hope we're wrong.
I hope we're wrong. I hope we're wrong about every one of these. I hope we get a mega drop next week of Elden Ring, Grid Legends, WWE. That will be the best this week on Stadia they could ever do.
Another game we're expecting to miss, we talked about on Sounds of Stadia 130, so if you want to know our views on that, check that. And there's The Quarry, due to come out in June.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to dwell on that.
The Quarry should have been a Stadia exclusive. That's another extra. While we're on the floor, injured, hurting, bleeding, outright games. That's when someone comes in and gives us another big kick, because The Quarry was an exclusive deal with Supermassive that 2K have picked up the pieces, and it launches this summer. Looks great. I can't wait to play it on my PS5.
Yeah, we're now into the block of games.
Chris, Michael, John, Richard, what?
Yeah, sorry. Think about my brother for a moment there. We're now into the block of games, Chris, that don't come out, that we don't have confirmed release dates for, but are either confirmed to be 2022 or expected to be 2022. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to throw this to you to pick which ones you want to talk about, because there's quite a list here and we don't have time to cover them all.
That is true, yeah. I think we can write off a few quickly already.
Yeah.
Marvel's Midnight Suns, I don't think has a chance is coming. Nope. Starfield, we know 100% isn't, because
that's down as exclusive.
Yeah, obviously Bethesda did have this is another caveat conversation. Bethesda did support Stadia. We got Doom. We got Rage 2.
Ellie, if you go back to 2019, the way Bethesda would talk about Stadia and the tech, Doom was one of their showcase games for Stadia before release. And
you know what? It's not their fault. Microsoft came in with that big dick energy and bought them out and acquired everything under their umbrella.
Yeah.
But it's another gap in Stadia's catalogue that hasn't been rectified yet. They've not plugged that gap with anything of equal merit. But yeah, quickly moving through them.
This is what worries me at the moment about everyone buying everyone, which we touched a couple of weeks back, is they're truly in third-party developers. There's getting less and less of them, which means the new players in the market don't have as many partnerships to form. Yeah. So Bethesda's off the table now, where they were one of the biggest. Activision really off the table. These you're not going to get an Activision game on Stadia now. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
we sometimes very unlikely.
We did theorize it would take a sustained a decent user base to finally get the likes of Call of Duty and stuff maybe over to the platform, and that's gone now. And in a way, when Phil Spencer came out probably a few years ago now, and said my rivals are not Sony and Nintendo, my rivals are Amazon and Google. Yeah. Him going out and literally scooping up all of these AAA third-party behemoth developers and publishers.
Amazon and Google. He's just absolutely.
I don't know, but I found these results on search.
If you're listening, get me some AAA games on Stadia, please. Anyway, back to what we were talking about, Richie. Big titles. We know we're going to get Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora from Ubisoft. Woo!
Yeah.
End of the year. I'm sure it's beautiful and great. Saints Row for me. We've got 2 Saints Row games that have now dropped on Stadia as pro games as well. Why wouldn't we get the next entry in the series, the rebooted franchise of Saints Row? Why wouldn't that come, Richie? Why wouldn't that come?
It's still 5 months away, but it's not announced. So
yeah. Whereas I could tell you it's on my PlayStation or Xbox.
There's other things like Hogwarts Legacy's Holiday 2020, no announcement. That's basically coming to everything but Switch. Sonic Frontiers, I think
Hogwarts Legacy is coming to Switch.
Is it?
Yep. And it's not even a cloud version, which is the biggest interesting fact.
I stand corrected. I missed that then.
Yeah, it was on because I saw a few people saying like how bad it's going to run on the Switch because it's a cloud version. So we'll see how that one pot of fans.
Sonic Frontiers, late 2022. Slowly building a bit of hype for that because they're doing something different with the Sonic franchise.
Yeah.
Again, that's on pretty much everything. It's not announced for Luna, but there is other Sonic games on Luna. Well, the Sonic Mania. So I think it's possible you might get it over there, depending on what Luna's looking like end of the year.
It kind of says a lot when the only spec of Sonic... Bear in mind, there's a brand new Sonic movie coming out next month, so he's very much in the public mind's eye at the moment. New game... Obviously, storied mascot, been around for decades at this point. The Blue Blair, amazing. Love Sonic to bits. The only sign of Sonic on Stadia is a man in a Sonic costume.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
In the Olympics 2021 game on the platform. So that's the only sniff of Sonic we have on Google Stadia as of now.
It makes me... How hard would it be to go to say and go, we want to bring Sonic Mania, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Knuckles, etc. to Stadia? I don't think it costs that much.
I mean, they've been ported everywhere else since then.
Yeah.
But
it's not like they're going to be highly demanding games, so the porting should be relatively straightforward, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I guess the only other one is probably Arc Raiders, which we theorised because the developers had a spot at the Google for Games Developers Summit last week. That we theorised on the podcast that, you know what, big chance it could be coming to Stadia. They talked about cloud gaming and stuff. We didn't hear any further announcements, but again, that could be more likely with it being a brand new IP.
Yeah, again, I think this is more likely, but as it stands, it's not confirmed. It is confirmed for other platforms, so...
Yeah.
I'm going to rattle for a couple of things before we end on one. I want to end on a positive note, so I'll rattle through some of the ones that aren't coming or aren't announced. Plague Tale Requiem is coming to pretty much everything. Luna has Plague Tale Innocence, so I would expect it might come there. Gotham Knights expected this year. The Callisto Protocol, I don't know much about that, but it was in several lists I looked at, so it made it my list. Hollow Knight Silksong is switching PC, but GeForce Now has Hollow Knight 1, so could possibly go there. Lord of the Rings Gollum has a chance of coming. We think it might be, but again, not announced.
The developers their logo was part of the Stadia porting partners, if you remember. So their company logo, or the publisher, was on stage, virtual stage at the developer summit. So it's either Lord of the Rings Gollum or one of their smaller titles in the works. I think it was like Rugby 22 and Cricket 22 were some of the other titles. So I saw they were announced for GeForce Now this past week. So we'll see. We'll see.
Oxenfree 2, Lost Signals. Oxenfree 1 was quite a well-acclaimed indie game.
Yeah.
Odd combination of platforms, this one. PlayStation, Switch and PC. No Xbox.
These deals happen, don't they?
I might be wrong on that, but I couldn't find a confirmation for coming to Xbox. But I was like, okay, fine. And one more that is not coming is... No, that's it. I've still got Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League in the bottom of my list. But that's 2023 now.
Hey, I tell you what we've not even covered as well.
Yeah.
Who have existing relationships. FIFA 23.
Yeah, we haven't touched any of the sports games.
Jedi Fallen Order 2 is due for a reveal at Disney Celebrations, so a Star Wars Celebration. So
I didn't see that on any of the lists.
It's not officially announced to come out this year, but all the rumours are pointing towards Star Wars Celebration. And again, the time frame.
Breath of the Wild 2. Right? I suppose Breath of the Wild 2 is announced, isn't it? It's just we don't have a formal name, but
we don't have that. But yeah, again, and I guess in summary, then Richie, it just points to what we've kind of been. Kind of holding off on for a while, but also at the same time expecting, as we do the weekly podcast and we round up all of the Stadia news. And we went into this year optimistic that there was a couple of stealth drops in the pipeline, and we've had stealth drops, but they've not maybe been the ones that we were hoping for. And now we're several weeks and months into the year as we tick over. The clocks are going forward, have gone forward, in fact, at the time the show goes live. We're nearly in April now, and as the year ahead, as we glance off into the distance of 2022, there's a lot of games coming, and you know where I'll be playing them? On my PlayStation 5, because they've announced they're coming, and I can guarantee you nothing's going to change on that front.
Yeah, I mean, to put it in perspective, there was a Times article that I went through 40 most anticipated games of 2022. So it's a pretty comprehensive one. And we've already mentioned Rainbow Six Extraction.
Mm-hmm.
I've added some games that weren't announced at the time of the article. Some games that I think were a bit smaller things I've kind of skipped past. The only other game that is coming to Stadia out of the 40 games in this time's article is Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. 2 out of 40 for the year.
Yeah. And I guess that's
both
the
Ubisoft.
Yeah, and that's the kind of note to pretty much end on, is that there's lots of people out there who love Stadia for what it is, and I love Stadia for what it is. But as a gamer, do you, honestly, you viewers and listeners out there, do you think 2 out of 40 of the most anticipated games coming out this year is good enough for a platform aiming to break into this industry? Because I don't, Richie. I don't. It's a terrible showing for 2022. In fact, based on that list, 2019 and 2020 and 2021 will have had a better year than this year if this is how we end up come Christmas.
Do you know what makes it a bit even worse for me? Extraction's fine, but it's not a game I'm going to put a lot of hours into, and I'm not particularly interested in Avatar. Avatar needs that. Ubisoft needs to sell that game for me, because at the moment I'm very cold on the Avatar franchise in general. It's like, so they really need to show me why I need to be excited for this game.
Yeah, I'm sold on Avatar because it's basically Far Cry in an Avatar world.
Yeah, you're more of a Ubisoft fan than me, so.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, admittedly, I don't mind Avatar. It's been a while, but I'll go see the movies. I enjoy Ubisoft. I enjoy Far Cry, and it's a AAA game on Stadia, so of course I'm going to play it. But you're totally right, yeah. From that list, if that's nothing coming out this year excites you, then if you weren't doing a podcast, you'd be on your PlayStation, right? Or you're on your Switch. Like, that's the harsh reality. As a consumer and a gamer, you would not be playing Stadia if it wasn't for...
Do you know what the harsh reality is? I do a Stadia podcast, and right now, the games I'm playing, I'm currently playing through Pokemon Shining Pearl on my Switch, and I'm playing through Horizon Forbidden West on my PlayStation. I'm not really... The only thing I'm playing at the moment, routine, at any sort of regularity on Stadia, is FIFA.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And and that's for the convenience that it works on my phone. And
there's been some great sales recently on Stadia, but when I've looked at them, it's like, there's nothing I want to buy.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing actually I had my eye on was East 9, and now we're getting that Stadia Pro. So there is positives, like... Stadia introduced me to the East franchise, which I've enjoyed. I'm looking forward to jumping into East 9. We've got time. I'm looking forward to things like City Skylines. It's just... It really is at the moment, unfortunately, more misses than hits.
Yeah. And that's kind of the point, isn't it? If you've not got the games, then you don't have the gamers.
I'm looking for a positive spin here to finish off. I don't have
one. You know what? We don't need to be positive to spin off. The reality is, it's not our fault these games haven't came.
Yeah.
It's the people who write the checks, who make the deals, who negotiate for their platform that they've made to break into the video game industry and to show cloud gaming is the future. And quite frankly, they're not doing a good job of it so far. There is so much more that could have happened. And even just kickstarting the year with maybe bagging one of the 5 games that have just came out. You know what? Hell, even just get Grid Legends. Like, was that really that hard to get? Just a racing game that's a spin-off of the other Grid games.
Yeah.
Couldn't even land that. No Lego, no WWE, no Sifu, no Dying Light. It's alright, we'll give you Adventure Time, The Pirates of Enchiridion. I'm sure it's a great game, but it came out in 2018, and it's probably on sale everywhere.
It didn't do well in IGN's review.
Yeah. I mean, again, great for the library. Credit where credit's due, 100 games this year, can't wait. But again, Elden Ring or City Legends Crimson Collection. Go figure. And let us know, I guess, how you feel about the 40 most anticipated games, where you'll be playing them.
But that's all we have time for this week. If you like the video,
we could have went longer. We
really could. I glossed over some of these very quickly. If you like the video, hit the like button and consider becoming members for little as 99p. We can get this rant like in almost a week early. Let's just call it what it is for this.
There's someone right now listening to this on a Sunday going.
Actually, I don't think this was a rant. I think we were quite composed through it.
You know what?
We're not angry. We're disappointed.
As all bad parents are.
Yeah.
It's you know what? It's the truth. It's the truth. And if you're out there rainbows shine out Stadia's arse, then you probably want to ask yourself if you're being honest with yourself more than we are being honest with you.
This show's actually been surprisingly light on opinions. It's just been going, this is not coming, this is not coming. If you've got a topic you want us to discuss, let us know in the comments of this video. But actually, I want you to let us know which game that's coming out this year that you would most likely to see come on Stadia and why it isn't Elden Ring. If you've got any other topics to discuss, Discord server, comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Richie.
I've been exclusive to this podcast.
That's not true. He's on the Sounds of Stadia podcast, which
That
we
is
recorded
true,
an hour
yeah.
ago.
Multi-platform, Chris.
Press completed.